There is a hidden pipeline beyond that which is known to fans of Tokusatsu. It is a pipeline as vast as the rainbow line and as timeless as... It is the middle ground between the land of light and the darkness of the cosmos. Between... And it lies between the pit of Japan's acting industry, the fears of homophobic Toku fans, and the summit of their knowledge. This is not the dimension of... imagination! Nor is it the dimension that was sealed in a gear. But rather a dimension only comprehensible to those select few. A dimension of Yaoi. It is a pipeline we call the Tokusatsu to BL pipeline. So, let me ask you this, viewer. What do you think about when you hear the news of Toku being... gay? Now, some will automatically jump to Izzy and Fern's relationship from Power Rangers Dino Fury, as they are both canonically lesbians and the first open LGBTQ couple in the mainstream Power Ranger series. But I'm not talking about that. We're in Japan, not America, although they are such a cute couple together. So, am I talking about that one episode of Zenkaiger that had Juran and Gown be a couple as well as Majin and Flint be a couple? No. But that's one of my favorites because it's obvious Juran and Gown are on the DL. They scream they're gay for each other, but no one knows. I've seen it before. There are other examples such as trans, agender, and gender-ambiguous characters being featured in the stories of Tokusatsu. I see the vision that no one else sees. Or Ryuki, because they just plopped the gay sex scene in the G.O. Rider Time special like it was nothing. But instead, I'm talking about the direct pipeline that brings Tokusatsu actors away from their times as superheroes fighting monsters to the gay yaoi-ful world where they kiss boys. BL dramas. If you're subscribed to this channel, BL, or its pseudonym, Yaoi, needs little to no introduction, because I made a video on it already. A genre all about loving boys and the art of men loving men. And if you're subscribed to this channel, you should know what Tokusatsu is. It's Japanese special effects, and if you go into my videos not expecting me to reference a Tokusatsu series, hi, welcome to this channel. My name is Kamen Rider. Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, Godzilla, Barom. I feel like I'm the only one that watched a couple of eps of Barom, and I thought it was really cool. And I love both of these genres so much. In my Yaoi video, I mentioned that rediscovering my love for Yaoi was the same as discovering my love for Tokusatsu. It was learning that, just like how we Westerners have Power Rangers and LGBTQ dramas, people in Asia, especially Japan, have Tokusatsu and BL dramas. And that's just as valid. Both are incredibly important and staples for the people that have found love for the franchises and for the arts behind it. Regardless of where you come from, you can find similarities with what you grew up with and bond, connecting two groups across the world together, and sometimes even dedicating your life to the genre for how much you love it. I saw the parallels between Toku and BL, and it made me love it even more. In fact, if it wasn't for me getting into Yaoi/Danmei/BL, I wouldn't be back into my love for Toku since like the end of high school. So the connections really do run deep, but little did I know that it ran deeper than I ever imagined. It was the middle of 2023 in the summer when I saw the cover for the new BL drama Kimi ni wa Torokanai, or I Cannot Reach You, which was a manga I read from my Yaoi video, but I just didn't talk about it. However, what really stuck out with me when seeing that poster for the drama was the actor, Kentaro Maeda. Wait a second, that's Ikki from Revice. I was watching Kamen Rider Revice at the time, and specifically at the arc with Jack Revice, so Ikki stuck out like a sore thumb to me. However, I saw comments saying these three words together, Toku to BL. I kept seeing that in relation to Maeda and him being there. This was followed up by them posting an image of the BL My Personal Weatherman, which is a pretty good BL itself, and saw Kohei Iguchi and Atsuki Masahiko, who played Don Momotaro and Tukaiser, respectively. So that's when the gears started turning for me. I looked back into the J-dramas I watched and saw that, wow, a lot of these actors are also Toku actors. They went from saving the day and transforming to now making out with guys and hitting on men. It was a pattern. It was common. It was a phenomenon. And that's when I learned about the Toku to BL pipeline. Before we discuss the actual topic at hand, we should at least get a broad definition of what the Toku to BL pipeline is. Unfortunately, there's no definitive definition, as you would see on Urban Dictionary, but all descriptions as such match the idea of Toku actors going to BL dramas, and sometimes vice versa. For this video, I decided to make my own standard definition with these descriptions in mind. The Toku to BL pipeline is a phenomenon where tokusatsu actors move from their roles in tokusatsu to go on to do boys love drama. The actors go from becoming heroes to lovers, and jump from action-packed fights to the world of gay love and gay sex. The Toku to BL pipeline has been recorded for as long as the peak of the BL genre during the 2010s to the 2020s. The Toku to BL pipeline also can be inverted, as we can see BL actors go to tokusatsu, such as Masashi Ikeda, who starred in Zettai BL Season 2 in 2022. 1 year later, he would become Jeremy in All-Sama Sentai King Oja. It even has had an impact in Power Rangers in the West, with Calvin, the Yellow Ninja Steel Ranger from Ninja Steel, starring in Love Victor, a gay drama series, proving the Toku to BL pipeline expands to even the West. This phenomenon and connection between Toku and BL, or gay Japanese film, can date back all the way back to 1993 with Nishimuro Kazuhiko in Dosokai. And 5 years prior, he played Joe Ohara in Shojin Sentai Live Man. Nishimuro then went on to play Takeru's dad in 2015 in Kamen Rider Ghost. This pipeline is one that has claimed many, and still going strong, with Hideyoshi Kan, Ace and Geats now in a BL, and Rackley's and King Oger, all starring in their own BLs just as soon as their series either ended production, or if Rackley's case, just wasn't in it. Speaking of, when is Rackley's bisexual BL coming out? Because I saw it and I'm like, come on, where is it? Like, he's now back in King Oger, so like, I guess it's done, but like, where is it? The Toku to BL pipeline on the surface is just regular actor stuff, but I feel like there's more to this. There's more than just actors moving from one location to another. To find out, let's dig deeper. This video is something that seeks to accomplish two things regarding the Toku to BL phenomena. One, gush about BL, and the other, gush about Toku. Okay, good night. While true on the latter, since that doesn't get much talk on my channel, the real two goals when discussing the Toku to BL pipeline in this video is 1. To identify, or at least best guess, a starting point of where this Toku to BL phenomenon came from and why does it happen to this day still. 2. To compare the actors in their role of Toku and BL and explain what makes this Toku to BL pipeline so appealing. The first one that I want to talk about is the simple question: why does the Toku to BL come to reality, and why does it still continue to this day? Now, the simple answer should be that
they're actors.
It's actors auditioning and getting roles, playing it, getting their money, day's over. Another factor is, well, talent agencies. Called jimushos in Japan, they work to pretty much give actors in the industry acting roles and control the image of an actor. This is true for stuff like idol work, celebrities, all that stuff. If you ever heard of idol culture, it's kind of like that, but for actors too. These agencies, or jimushos, are usually what give these actors these roles unless they're freelance, which is pretty rare, but in America it's also pretty rare too. As of now, this analysis of why the Toku to BL pipeline happens is really bare bones. These just feel like typical business practices in acting. However, what if I was to tell you there's a deeper reason this Toku to BL pipeline happens that's not officially stated? One that I feel never gets discussed when talking about the Toku to BL pipeline, and to me, this explains 100% why the Toku to BL pipeline happens. In order to explain why, we need to go back to 2000, when Kamen Rider was reborn. In 2000, the Kamen Rider franchise would break free from its movie pilot limbo and finally get a full-fledged series since Black RX in 1989. It was Ishinomori's last time having a say on a Kamen Rider series before his passing in 1998, and the one that would birth the Heisei era. That series was Kamen Rider Kuga. Kamen Rider Kuga was, in a sense, a revival. Kuga's plot involves the rebirth of the hero Kuga, who fought against the evil Gorongi tribe and protected the world. Centuries later, not only do the Gorongi become unsealed, but they encounter another wielder of the Arco Belt that fights against them, the main protagonist, Yusuke Godai. Godai was drastically different from other Kamen Riders of the time, as not only was he the start of the Heisei era, he was more positive and more lighthearted in contrast to other protagonists. You see, at the time, the majority of the Kamen Rider protagonists, or just Showa-era writers, were protags that have tragic backstories or trauma associated with them that they must overcome to not only take down the respective villain group of the series, but to also regain their humanity and connect with the people in their lives after becoming Kamen Riders. For Hongo, it was overcoming his reality of being a cyborg and protecting the world from Shocker. For Hiroshi, it was the same but also the inclusion of witnessing his friend group massacred by Neo Shocker. For Kazami, it's watching his family be massacred and fulfilling the wish of the Double Riders to ensure Japan is protected from Badan. For Yamamoto, it's carrying the will of the Amazon tribe that has raised him since he was a baby, while also reconnecting with the humanity he was barred from for so long. And for Shin, being a mess of betrayal, murdered, and trying to find humanity in a world that wants you dead. Yeah, Shin is visually and emotionally, guys. Please watch it. It's one of the best of the three. In contrast to every other Showa rider, the first scene we see with Godai was him juggling for a lost boy at an airport and was comforting him until his parents found him. We then see him hang out with his friend Sakurako, talk about his skills, until he finally decides to take the Arcle and transform into Kuga. Godai's origin story being a complete contrast from the rest of the way the Showa-era writers got their powers. The man of many talents, a man who always wants to stick to his promises and uplift the people around him, not out of the role of being a hero, but because of his natural good nature and innate motive to always make people smile. Godai was the positive and bright light in the franchise, as if the son of Kamen Rider was rising up after a long night of no new consistent show. This isn't to say Kuga is all sunshine and rainbows, as we do get some pretty violent scenes, and Godai also gets his existential crisis moment as the Arcle and Kuga does take a toll on his body physically and mentally, but it's the way that Godai is presented that makes Kuga not only an amazing hero, but a positive and more heartwarming hero that not only children would love, but also the parents watching the show with their child will love, and even call back to their childhood with the Kamen Riders. And this can all be credited to Yusuke Godai's own actor, Odagiri Joe. Born on February 16, 1976, Odagiri was a rising actor who landed one of his first major roles in acting with the character of Yusuke Godai. If there's one thing to note about Odagiri, is that he's not the biggest Tokusatsu fan. Originally, the rumor was he hated Kuga, but in reality, he loved working on the show and was happy with how it turned out. In fact, he helped transform the show, especially Godai, into the ideal character he wants. And the product is a guy who's passionate about learning more about himself, wanting to make everyone smile and show care for the lives of millions, not just because he's a Kamen Rider, but because he's a genuine good guy with the passion to help others. Joe Odagiri is Yusuke Godai. Combine this with Odagiri's already good-looking physique and cute young face, and not only were you getting an audience of kids wanting to see their favorite superhero save the day, but you also attract women who gush at the sight of this handsome man. This was the birth of the Odagiri effect. If there's one thing that's barely talked about in the Toku community and also the BL community, it's the simple power the Odagiri effect has on Japanese media today. For example, look at Aruto from 01 and his actor getting pretty much praised by a woman who says her child watched the show. You can tell that she was also watching 01, but not just for the toys, but Aruto himself. I mean, do you blame her? Do you? The Odagiri effect is when a piece of media attracts a somewhat larger than usual female audience when it's not the intended audience. Kamen Rider Kuga was the first of this effect taking place in Japan, as Kamen Rider Kuga saw a huge amount of mothers watching alongside their kids just to swoon over the sexy Joe Odagiri and how he portrays Godai in the show. If you ever wonder why sports anime, or just some shonen anime geared towards boys, have a massive female audience, it's more than likely thanks to the Odagiri effect taking place and the handsome, stunning men on the screen. While in manga and anime it's known as Beast Shonen Jump Syndrome, the Odagiri effect is a conveniently planned phenomenon that is used to gain more viewers to a live-action series or Jdrama, while also, in the case of Kamen Rider, having a bonding time over their show, but in reality it's to sell the Kuga toys, leading to the show and the Kamen Rider series becoming more memorable and sentimental to the children and families that grew up with it, as well as re-stabilizing it into Japanese pop culture like it did back in the 70s. The effect that birthed thanks to Odagiri was not only great for the Kamen Rider franchise, as it now was able to establish itself on par with its younger brother Super Sentai, but it allowed for Kamen Rider actors to potentially open a door to much more broader acting careers, and that happened thanks to Godai. And this is where it leads us to Japanese BL. If there's one thing that needs to be known by every Fujin, like myself, is that BL/Yaoi has a female audience targeted first, meaning that women are way more likely to tune into their media in contrast to men. BL saw this Odagiri effect, and thus Toku actors, usually Kamen Rider actors, were there acting out some of the cutest and hottest yaoi on the block. Now, when we look at the Odagiri effect, it's obvious that of course it's not the definition or the one defining reason why the Toku to BL pipeline happens, as after all, I listed 2 outliers that had no Odagiri effect take place. However, if you look at it now, as well as also BL's huge influence in Japanese pop culture today, especially among women, the Odagiri effect is a full-on win-win situation. Tokusatsu directors hire the prettiest and hottest boys, which gets more viewers to watch their series. BL recruiters see such beautiful boys in their shows, and then want them to be in their beautiful BL series. Symmetry, my friend. Now, there's an automatic red flag that might come to people with the Toku to BL pipeline, and that is that it is straight actors playing gay roles. First off, I thought we were past that. Let's not do that. It's best to not assume anything. Plus, as someone who's a gay man, I don't mind because the guys are cute, and the guys are not being stereotypical or bad. They're just gay, and some might be my type. Another reason is that we have seen how Toku actors act in terms of gay characters way before BL gained popularity. I really want to go back to Odagiri because we have seen him portray a gay character and do it amazingly well. So much did it make me cry. And that's the 2005 film La Maison de Himiko. In researching for the Toku to BL pipeline, I found 2 things. 1, this source from Jonathan Clemens about the Odagiri effect is old, but it's like cool old because it states Faiz is the most recent Kamen Rider series airing, and that means I'm old because that's 2003 and the age is getting to me, so how long have I been in this life contract? Tumblr user Melto compiled a huge list of Toku playing gay on my drama list, and one of the films posted was La Maison de Himiko. By the way, Melto, if you're watching this, hi, thank you so much for the list, I love it. La Maison de Himiko revolves around the group home for elderly gay men, and the founder Himiko, Saori, the daughter of Himiko, is being asked to take care of her and the queer men living in the facility despite being abandoned by her father so long ago and have nothing but contempt for him. And she is asked by the young lover of Himiko, Haruhito, played by Joe Odagiri himself. The movie it's beautiful, and I love it so much. The unique and vast way they portray queer elders, the way Saori goes from being homophobic to more accepting and empathetic, and even enjoys her time with the queer elders in their twilight years. Worth keeping myself awake to watch and getting only 5 hours sleep the night of. Of course, this time we're not going to talk about the movie, which I kinda should. We're going to highlight Odagiri's character, Haruhito. Haruhito is such an amazing part of this movie because of how Odagiri is able to portray Haruhito, from doing all he can to promise a happy life for the elderly gays, including his partner, to even trying to be romantic with Saori. It's so good. It's beautiful. Haruhito is a guy that, throughout the movie, is a strong-hearted leader suffering through it all. In other words, he's like Godai and Kuga. Both Godai and Haruhito are characters that strive to be leaders in their life because they want to ensure the happiness of others, even if it costs them everything. For Godai, it's wanting to protect the world and his friends from the Gurongi, and Haruhito wanting the house to keep going even after Himiko's passing. Both know the world isn't perfect, and both know that the odds are stacked against them, but they still keep going forward because there's people counting on them to lead forward. There's people that depend on them, and smiles to protect. The major difference is, whereas Godai is fighting strong and powerful monsters where people are supporting him, Haruhito lives in a homophobic society where the people that had his back are either succumbing to old age or abandoning him, and watching the homophobic world break him and his persona down. Odagiri does such an amazing job. The Odagiri effect comes into play here as it draws not only gay men to watch this heartfelt and cute movie, but also attract women who love Odagiri as it allows them to learn about what gay people go through and hopefully gain sympathy. Whereas Odagiri's hotness allowed women to see how awesome Kamen Rider is, Odagiri's hotness allowed women to also see the stories and struggles of Japanese gay men, especially Japanese gay elders that don't really get a voice in society, and it's damn good. Aside from the Odagiri effect, this movie's relevancy to this video is that it shows that Toku actors are capable of playing queer characters and star in BL. To sum up this part, the Odagiri effect is, in my own opinion, one of the most crucial elements in why the Toku to BL pipeline manifests in our modern day. When Tokusatsu hires hot and cute actors, they get more opportunities. From there, the BL industry sees the potential and swoops them in to pick them up, and voila, you got them locking lips with another man after they locked swords only like 1 or 2 seasons ago. And if you're lucky, it may be their own co-workers. While there are many other reasons, and sometimes the Odagiri effect does not come in at all, to say the Odagiri effect isn't a huge factor is kind of a lie. I mean, do you really doubt the power of Fujoshis? Exactly, you don't. They're our strongest soldiers. We support them, and Fudanshis too. Hey, I'm a Fudanshi. Now that all that's out of the way, there is one other thing I want to address. Why is this important? Why on earth do we need to acknowledge the Toku to BL pipeline? Why is it that Toku fans should watch BL and BL fans enjoy Toku? I think it's simple. Both BL and Tokusatsu are amazing ways of transmedia storytelling in their own works. Not in that way, but if you want good transmedia, check out this video about transmedia. You know, it's my channel. What is transmedia storytelling, you may ask? Transmedia storytelling is the idea of telling a story across multiple pieces of media and expanding on an already existing narrative that's spun from one. In the real world, we all have experienced such, be it Doctor Who, Sonic, hey, check this video out, Final Fantasy, 16 is really good, guys, or even weekly Shonen Jump series like Ginga, Kinnikuman, Naruto. I'll stop here or else I'll yell about how great the transmedia storytelling of Shaman King and Hiroyuki Takei's work is, and that maybe it should be more accessible in the West and not just audio or digital books, because I hate digital. Transmedia storytelling not only incentivizes people to continue supporting a medium, it also allows for a more immersive and involving story that has the viewers bouncing back for more. The only difference being that there is no continuous storytelling or plot like, say, Kingdom Hearts, but rather it has common themes, elements, motives, and tropes that help keep viewers going to other stories and develop their love for the genre or story. Toku and BL both do it because there's different stories and concepts that the medium can explore. By using different motives, different settings, different themes, they expand on what can happen with the genre and bring out more of its potential. Tokusatsu will jump from having themes of dinosaurs, to time traveling, to action figures, to daddy issues, to Big Bang Theory, to air humping, to dinosaurs, to animals, to magic, to vehicles. The same way BL jumps from apocalypse, to wizards, to dinner, to vampires, to literally BL itself. Transmedia storytelling is prominent in these genres, and why fans of one or the other would enjoy such aside from just the actor being there, and if you don't like one, you can easily jump to the other, and then hate on the other one. Sometimes unjustly. Seriously, I think Tallboy Ranger gets too much hate. It's not that bad, guys, come on. Another reason that you should check out the Toku to BL pipeline is because of the fact that, in my opinion, the actor carries the will of their Toku role into their BL role. What I mean by this is that when you watch the BL of your choice, and hopefully you've seen the Toku series prior, you see the character bleed into the performance. You see a glimpse of the role that made you fell in love with the actor in the first place. I can list examples, such as watching Sentai BL and seeing the mob being so scientific and knowledgeable about BL tropes. You can see the nerdy and intelligent Sento right through, as you can see Sento's genius personality through the mob's snarky way of identifying several BL tropes and hyper-analyzing it for the viewer, and also seeing Sento's hidden musical side. Another example is The End of the World with You. Not The World Ends With You, although you should really play those games, and Kamen Rider X8, both starring Seto Toshiki. Throughout The End of the World, Masumi, Toshiki's character, is filled with doubt not only in the last days of his life, but his trust in his reunited boyfriend Ritsu. Throughout the series, Masumi is presented as calm and confused of everything happening, but as the series continues, we see how he truly loved Ritsu, and never recovered from being betrayed when Ritsu left his publishing club. In Ritsu, you can see Toshiki Seto channel Hiro from X8. In X8, Hiro suffers from the trauma of losing his girlfriend Saki, one thing that was exploited by him by Dan Masamune. Toshiki Seto both carries the characters as someone burdened by a broken heart, but whereas Seto is able to finally reconcile with his girlfriend's death after the topic being a sore spot in his life, Masumi is able to be in love with the man that abandoned him until the literal end of the world. However, there are 3 that stand out in terms of the actor carrying their Toku roles for BL, and I decided to select one of the big 3. Considering it's been mostly Kamen Rider, why not show some Ultraman and Super Sentai? The first one for Kamen Rider is the aforementioned I Cannot Reach You, and Kentaro Maeda. For summary, I Cannot Reach You follows the story of childhood friends Yamato and Kakeru. Yamato always had a crush on Kakeru, yet Kakeru always doubted himself and wanted to impress Yamato. After a mix-up and a school trip, they slowly blossom into the love they always wanted to have. I want to focus on the character of Yamato, Maeda's character. Throughout the series, Yamato is reserved and shy, and unfortunately comes off as cold or edgy to the others. However, behind such is a man who loves his best friend since his childhood years, someone who wants to spend the rest of his life with said friend and care for him. Yamato's inner feelings being masqueraded is similar to how Ikki masqueraded his own feelings in Revice. Throughout Revice, Ikki is seen as Japan's biggest busybody and someone who always wants to help out, kind of like Godai, right? Ikki, after all, is the good guy with the heart of gold that loves his family, and as the big brother, he has to be. However, deep down, Ikki is someone who wants to help people due to his inability to care for himself. Throughout Revice, Ikki is someone who jumps through hoops simply to make others feel happy, and that was worsened by his role as a Kamen Rider, aka someone who is expected to be the hero who saves the day. Ikki is someone who doesn't value himself or what he stands for. He has no morals because he's whatever anyone else wants. Because to him, his family is what he is defined by. Everyone else's needs is what he's defined by. He's not defined by his love for football, which he willingly gave up, nor defined by other traits. Instead, he's just a family guy who would even give up his own memories just for people to be happy. If you want proof of this, look at his nice, beautiful daddy demon Vice, Ikki's inner demon, someone who presents as immature, selfish, rowdy, and mostly looks out for himself until he learns to be selfless to protect people in his life, including the Igarashi family, and is also one of the hottest Kamen Riders ever. Ikki learns the opposite, to be selfish and at least put himself first and have his own idea of who he is, thanks to Vice, but who can blame him? Vice is a daddy. The way Maeda portrays Yamato is the same way he presents Ikki in Revice. Yamato is someone who struggles with his inner feelings and love for Kakeru. He knows that he just wants to be with him. His shy and quiet personality along with his talents get him perceived as some cool bad boy that wants to be the ladies' man and attention, but in reality, none of that matters, only Kakeru. Ikki's outgoing and caring big brother personality, along with his role as a Kamen Rider, gets him the idea of a hero who loves to jump in to save the day. Deep down, Ikki's just a hollow void who will devalue himself for everyone else, even going so far as to sacrifice his memories. Ikki is someone so selfish, he will gladly disregard everything that defines himself. The way Maeda portrays this in his acting, such as the scene where Yamato is on a date at the mall, or how Ikki confesses why he gave up on football, is so cool. You can see how Maeda breaks the shell built around his character just to reveal these facts. It's so good. It shows that as an actor, Maeda is in control of the character and knows how to reveal those facts without telling straight out or being too subtle. And now that that's settled, when is the Me X Vice BL going to start? Because I want my beautiful demon daddy with me. The one I want to do for Ultraman is RH+, and that might not come up, and that's because it was released in 2008. Ironically, the same year Kamen Rider Kiva came out, and they're both about vampires. For a summary, RH Plus is about 4 vampires who live together and do detective work. Think of it as a cross between Black Butler and Hellsing, but gay. The characters we're going to look at is RH Plus's Yaoi and Ultraman Gaia's Hiroya Fujimiya, as they share an actor in Takano Heisei. Yaoi's role in the BL work of vampires is that he's the owner of the house that looks after them and gets the special missions. Despite his role being minimal in contrast to Makoto and Ageha, he still has his moments, such as episode 4, reflecting on the passing of his lover, showing how much care he has for not only his past lover, but for his fellow vampires. Heisei's portrayal of Fujimiya is drastically different, especially compared to Maeda with Ikki and Yamato. Fujimiya is a boy genius character that doesn't protect the people of the earth like Ultraman, but protects the earth. Fujimiya is someone who despises humanity and believes such to be the reason why the crisis will happen, and as such will not only protect the physical planet, but make sure to wipe out humanity to protect the earth. Of course, Fujimiya loses Agul, but regains him and his faith in humanity, and Fujimiya, despite his little appearance, is what made Gaia stand out and my favorite Heisei-era Ultraman. The comparison? Let's look back at episode 2 of RH+. After being kidnapped by a naive girl named Ami, Makoto is rescued by the other vampires. While the rescue goes successful, Kioi goes a step further and bites into Ami while staring at the vampires while he slowly kills her. The way he looks while he bites into Ami's neck and Makoto pleading for him to stop is what sells it so well. Heisei is channeling the frustration of Fujimiya into Kioi, and to explain, let's go back into Kioi's story. Kioi's character is all about caring for vampires and the people around him, in contrast to Fujimiya, which is all about caring for the earth, but not the people who reside in, running the house as a way to protect them from the outside world, and also overcoming the grief of losing his human lover. But aside from the missions and stuff, he has no care for anyone else he hurts, much like Fujimiya's desire to save the earth with little or no regard to the humans living on there. Heisei carries that care for no one than what's on the goal, and I love it. The final one I want to talk about is the actor Ryo Komiya, and for this segment, we're going to be looking at his character Koichi in Eternal Yesterday and Juru in Machine Sentai Kiramager. Komiya does such a wonderful job portraying emotion, and to see it carry over from Kiramager to Eternal Yesterday is phenomenal. In Eternal Yesterday, Komiya has Koichi portrayed as a happy-go-lucky popular guy that was struck by a truck and died, all in order to protect the boy he was growing a bond with, Mitsuru. But throughout the series has an existential crisis about his body being a corpse and his own mortality. Komiya does an amazing job acting as the corpse, as well as the lover to Mitsuru. He's able to turn normal things like taking a shower or having a boner into well-developed scenes because of his status as a corpse, while also taking his personality into account, showing that he's just a student that's witnessing himself die in real time. This not only comes with Koichi's crisis about being a corpse, but also because he loves Mitsuru and doesn't want to freak out, but also doesn't want to say goodbye to the man he loves. Komiya, in the sense, is bringing the way he portrays Juru into this. Juru and Kiramager may come off as this happy-go-lucky protags such as Daigo and Kyoryuja, or Lucky and Kyuranger, which they're both in BLs by the way. But Juru has some depth. It's important to note that Juru is the newest of the Kiramagers when the series starts, and barely has any track record. So in a sense that Koichi is getting used to his reality as a corpse, Juru is getting used to his life as a Kiramager. Juru has shown that he's insecure about his leadership role and sometimes doubtful. Even when he's Hirame King, he knows that he's not perfect, but he wants to do his best to ensure the team is kept strong. He doesn't want to let the other Kiramagers down. He wants to make sure things are lifted, as well as also be positive with all the attacks from the Jotunheim. An example is when Juru is willingly allowing himself to be trained to death by the other Kiramagers, while he knows it's physically detrimental to his health and he shows it. He knows it's what the Kiramagers want, a strong person, and even if it hurts him, he doesn't want to let them down. The same way, Koichi doesn't want to let Mitsuru down or die or pass without him loving. It's kind of heartbreaking on Eternal Yesterday's side, but heartwarming for Kiramager's side. And that's what I love, as it shows Komiya knows that positive happy characters need depth, and he gives it to both Koichi and Juru, and knows the situation and how to execute it and look genuine with it. I can go on and psychoanalyze all of this for days. It's a lot, and it's amazing. And I think the final reason why we should acknowledge the Toku to BL pipeline is because it's amazing. You see, I'm a big Toku nerd, and I'm also really gay, so of course it fits for me. So when I saw that there was Tokusatsu in it as the actors, it just made me feel more connected. It felt like I was at home, so it just made me feel more comfortable. Not only that, it helped me appreciate series more. For example, I watched RH Plus last year, but I didn't really click with it. Now that I know it has Fujimiya from Gaia in it, I love it even more. And all I have to say is, I can't wait for Hideyoshi Kan's BL series to come out, for Rakuli's movie to come out, and who else can be drawn into the Toku to BL pipeline. Thank you, the Odagiri effect, for creating, or at least assisting in creating, one of the greatest things of all time. So if you're a queer Toku fan, please check out BL. Even if you're not LGBTQ at all, even if you're cishet, why not check it out? It's fun to get outside of your comfort zone. It's fun to learn new things or see something from across the world. You might find your own Power Rangers stuff here. Maybe you might find your favorite season from it. Or maybe this list or any other Toku to BL list on my drama list missed some. And maybe some random actor from like the Showa era is in a BL. Who knows? But definitely check it out. Or if you're like one of the 5 to 10 people who watched Tomika Hero Rescue Force, I'm not one of them, Hikaru is in Aimedo Paradise. So before I end this video off, I guess I have to say, where do you start? And it's the same way getting into your first tokusatsu series or movie. Pick one you like, and for BL, pick an actor you really like and stick with that. Want a huge conglomerate of almost every Toku, Kamen Rider, and Sentai? Check out Sentai BL. If you want to see Emu and Sento kiss and pretty much be Heisei Generation's final but better, check out Our Dining Table. And of course, if you want more recommendations, the list I have used for reference in this video, Melto's list on my drama list, will be in the description below along with sources. But to wrap up this video, all I want to say is sometimes we have to get outside of our comfort zones. Sometimes we need to learn that things aren't always going to be set in stone. Sometimes things are going to be different, but that's okay. And I think it's cool because it gets to teach us something. For BL fans going into Tokusatsu, it can teach them about the rich history of such a beautiful genre that has impacted millions of people. And for Tokusatsu getting into BL, it can tell a queer story that they wouldn't necessarily get, but something that will open their eyes to and make them think about. Who knows? Think about the people in their life. Because after all, if there's one thing that Kamen Rider, Sentai, Ultraman, maybe Godzilla, and BL all have in common, is that it's all about being there for the people you care about. Be there to save people in a sense that maybe you want to help them or be someone you care about. Be someone in a person's life that you want them to come home and be grateful for. For some people, they can be grateful that the Sentai team is there ready to save the day, or the Kamen Rider is ready to fight, or Ultraman is ready to be a guiding light, and for BL, it's about coming home to the man you love. Tokusatsu Yaoi is pretty good. And to be real, Eiji and Ankh and Sento and Banjo have a better BL chemistry than like half of these. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. First video of 2024. I'm really glad y'all got to stick around. Thank you so much for almost 10K views. Well, 10K subscribers, but still 10K views on my Sonato video, so definitely check out the Sonato video. That's one of my favorite videos so far. Check out my playlist where I have all my other videos, and definitely check out BL and Tokusatsu. If you want my recommendations, hit me up, follow me on Instagram, join my Discord, follow me on Tumblr, and just hang out and reach out. Thank you. Make sure to like, comment, and stay safe.